All right. Now that we have gotten introduced to the idea of one-step equations, we are going to also talk about solving multi-step equations, or in this case, it's just going to be two-step equations. So what we need to do is, once again, I want to emphasize the importance of writing addition is the opposite of subtraction and vice versa, and multiplication is the opposite of division and vice versa. Okay, so when we are simplifying an expression, we have to do PEMDAS, right? P-E-M-D-A-S. Don't write this down. Well, when we are solving an equation with more than one step, we do the reverse of PEMDAS. So instead of going through and seeing multiplication and division, I'm not going to divide this first. I am going to add and subtract first. So the reverse PEMDAS would be add, subtract, multiply, divide in this case. All right? So we see here we have a subtraction sign. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. And we do the same number that is on the same side of as the variable. So we do the same thing to both sides. So -6 plus 6 cancels out. We're left with 2a, carry down the equal sign, is equal to 4 plus 6 is 10. Now we have one more step to do. We see we're multiplying here because we have a number right next to a variable. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we divide by the same number that's on the same side as the variable. And what we do to one side, we do to both. So now we're left with 1a, carry down our equal sign, is equal to 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now, when we were doing the one-step equations, I'm sure you were kind of thinking, oh, why do we have to check our work? You know, it's only one step. Here is where checking your answer becomes extremely important because there's more than one step. So let's take this a equals 5 and plug it back in for a. Whenever I replace a variable with a number, I need to always put parentheses. So we're going to do 2, and then in parentheses 5 minus 6 equals 4. Okay, so now we'll do PEMDAS again. So these are not parentheses as in these kind of parentheses. These are multiplication parentheses, separating the 2 and the 5, so you know it's 2 times 5, not 25. So 2 times 5, we get 10. Carry everything else down. Minus 6 is equal to 4. 10 minus 6 is 4, equals 4. Great, that is correct. So we know a equals 5. So now we're going to do a little bit of practice. I want you to try to do these two on your own. So pause the video, work through the problems, check your answer, and then you can come back here and check in with my answers to see if you got it right. All right, welcome back. Let's go through these. So we know right here we have a division sign, and this is going to get confusing because I told you we're going to do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division in a reverse order. But in this case, the exponents and the parentheses apply as well. And when you look at this right here, n plus 1, it's kind of like saying n plus 1 are in parentheses. So we are going to do that after our multiplication. If that got you confused or tripped you up when you were doing this, don't worry. It is a very complicated thought to go through all of that. But yes, so because the n plus 1 is all being divided by -2, we need to multiply by -2 first. So let's do that. We have times a -2 times a -2, which leaves us, bring this down, we have n plus 1, carry down the equal sign, and then 15 times a -2 gives us -30. All right, our next step, we have a adding one here, so we subtract, which is the opposite. Subtract 1, subtract 1. We cancel those out, so we are left with n equals -30 minus 1 gives us -31. So let's plug that back in and let's check it. We have negative 31 plus 1 divided by 2 is equal to, sorry, divided by a negative 2 is equal to 15. So we do our parentheses first. Negative 31 plus 1 is negative 30 divided by a negative 2 equals 15. Negative 30 divided by negative 2 is 15. 15 equals 15. Yep, we're good. All right. Again here, this is just regular. We do our addition subtraction first. So we have a positive 4 here. We subtract 4, subtract 4. So positive 4 minus 4 leaves us with 0. So we're left with 3m here. Bring down our equal sign. It's equal to a negative 4 minus 4 is negative 15. All right. So then our next step, we're going to do a little bit of division because we have a number right next to a variable, which means multiplication. So we divide by 3, divide by 3. This leaves us with just 1m left. Carry down my equal sign. Negative 15 divided by 3 gives us negative 5. So let's plug that back in and check. Remember, when I plug something back in, I always put it in a parenthesis. And then it's plus 4 equals, is it negative 15? No, negative 11. All right, so here we have multiplication first. So 3 times negative 5 is negative 15, plus 4 is equal to negative 11. Negative 15 plus 4 is negative 11. It's equal to negative 11. That's true. Great. All right, so next we have a word problem. So we have a sporting goods store sold 2/3 of its basketballs, but 8 were returned. Now the store has 38 basketballs. How many were there originally? Write an equation for the problem, then solve the equation. All right, so we have a few different things we need to look at right here. It sold 2/3 of its basketballs. But then 8 were returned, and it now has 38 basketballs. So we know that 2/3 of its basketballs were sold. So we're going to use B for basketballs. So we have 2/3 times the number of basketballs were sold, but then 8 were returned. So we're not going to subtract 8 because they didn't sell 8 more. They gained 8 back. So we have plus 8 is equal to, they have 38, so 38. All right, so if we go ahead and we solve that, we are going to have, we're not going to do red. We're going to subtract 8 first. So this cancels out. We're left with 2/3 times B is equal to 30. Here's the tricky part. We are going to divide by 2/3. Divide by 2/3. But when we divide by a fraction, it's similar to multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of a fraction is its flip. All right, so 2/3 flipped gives us 3/2. So instead of dividing by 2/3 in this case, we are going to multiply by its reciprocal. So we are going to multiply by 3/2. Multiply by 3/2. All right, so 3/2 times 2/3 gives us 1. Because 3 times 2 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we get B is equal to 30 times 3 is 90, divided by 2 gives us 45. All right, last slide. I want you guys to try these on your own. Pause the video, try them on your own, and then come back and check in with me. Welcome back. So a minus 10, again, is your parentheses in this case because it's all being divided by 8. So first we are going to multiply by 8, multiply by 8. So here we get a minus 10 divided by 8 multiplied by 8. These cancel out. So we are left with a minus 10 is equal to 8 times a negative 8. It's negative 64. The opposite of subtraction is addition, so we're adding 10 to both sides. And we are left with a equals negative 64 plus 10 is negative 54. And the very last one that we will be doing in this video, we have adding 11 here, so we're going to subtract 11 from both sides. So we get positive 11 minus 11 is 0, 5x. Carry down the equal sign. 36 minus 11 gives us 25. And then we are going to divide by 5, because remember, a number right next to a variable means multiplication. So if you have 5x divided by 5, you're left with just 1x equals 25 divided by 5 gives us 5.